Let's talk about Liz Cheney. This one is hilarious. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Liz Cheney compared herself to Abraham Lincoln and to running for president. And what do we got here? Well, YouGov, first time to actually test her just as an independent candidate. If Liz Cheney were to run for president, Donald Trump, according to this poll, would get 40% of the vote. Joe Biden would get 32% of the vote. And Liz Cheney would get 11% of the vote, showing actually that she takes a significant chunk away from Joe Biden in terms of the popular vote, yes. Krystal. So it's actually Democrats and crossover Dems that would be the ones who are most likely to come over. Now, something tells me that if Cheney were to do something like this, that she would not face, Krystal, the same level of ire that a Jill Stein faced in 2016 or of like a Ralph Nader, because she's so heroic. And, you know, people think
maybe,
that, yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you're right, I don't know.
I do think people would freak out if she
actually ran.
I do think there would be like a liberal resistance freak out if she ran. Because this poll, when it's just Biden versus Trump, Biden wins 46-42.
Yes.
And
exactly.
then when you introduce Liz Cheney, this is predictable because our politics is the dumbest thing ever. The only issue that apparently matters is where you stand on the question of how you feel about Donald Trump. And so even though, as we've said a million times and everybody else has as well, she voted with Trump 93% of the time, she is on board with all of the conservative stuff, the fact that she criticized him over January 6th makes Democrats love her and makes Republicans hate her, and nothing else matters whatsoever, and it is the dumbest possible state of affairs.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more. Let's go and put the next one up there on the screen, which is that Liz Cheney now says there will be a new political group that targets Trump allies. Interesting. So it's not actually about Trump. This is why I always thought she was so full of it. She'd be like, well, no, Ron DeSantis is bad too. I'm just like, okay, you're just a Democrat. Like, it's fine. But, you know, if you really did care about getting rid of Trump, you would want to elect somebody who has crossover appeal with people who are MAGA and people who are possible Cheney supporters. That's basically the whole case for like a DeSantis 2024. And she says that that is not in the cards. So she's now launching this political group of which we're certain is going to be raised dramatic money from Democratic organizations, the Reid Hoffmans types of the world, who have all already discussed backing her in some sort of presidential campaign. And it does, I think, just demonstrate where her core constituency is. Now, sadly, this is working in terms of elite opinion. Elite opinion has somehow convinced that Liz Cheney is a real political force in the Republican Party. Look no further than MSNBC on Sunday. Let's take a listen.
Liz Cheney is coming for all of them. In the rest of that interview, she went after Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and these other guys who know better than this MAGA act that they're putting on just to appeal to the rabid MAGA base. She's like, you all know better. What are you doing? And she has the credibility to do it. She is a Cheney. You cannot question her conservative bona fides, for goodness sake. She voted with Trump for 93% of the time in Congress. She's a Cheney. So like they can't come for her the same way they try to go after others, because the day that someone calls Liz Cheney a rhino, you just have to laugh in their face, because that's the weakest argument possible. So Liz Cheney unleashed. I'm here for it. And the Republicans, she's going to be a thorn in their side for the immediate future in these midterms and going into the presidential election. And I don't think they're ready for her.
Oh, my God.
Is Michael still hosting that show?
Apparently. He's probably filling in there.
Okay.
How can you possibly, the level of delusion that this requires? But hey, she works for the Lincoln Project. They bilked Democrats out of hundreds of millions of dollars in 2020. And as we have proven decisively on Rising and here as well, their ads had a negative effect in terms of actually working against Republicans. So I don't think you should be taking any advice from these folks.
I am all for spending money to take out election deniers who, as we've been covering, some of these people in some of these states are like a true threat and very disturbing in terms of democracy. Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, people in Arizona, all this stuff, okay? I am all for it. I would love to see a project that was actually effective at doing that. I just don't have a lot of confidence that Liz Cheney and her group is going to be able to pull it off.
Of course.
And it comes back to, and so that's why, this analyst, I mean, she just sounds kind of silly, because ultimately, as much as you would love to imagine that some sort of like conservative track record might mean something and where you stand on policy might mean something in politics.
Come on.
It's just not reality. We were talking about this with regards to labels, and you were like, America First now just means, it does not mean anything other than just how you feel about Donald Trump. And so the minute that you're on the wrong side of the issue of how do you feel about him and all of his conspiracy theories and January 6th and, you know, all of his, and the FBI raid now is the new one to add to the list. If you're on the wrong side of any one of those issues, it doesn't matter what you say on anything else. You're a rhino, you're dead to them, done. So, you know, I just think it's sort of, again, I'm fine with targeting election deniers. I would love to see it. I would love to see it be successful. Am I confident that Liz Cheney and her crew will have an effective result in that regard? No, I am not.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.